Welcome to the breakdown.
Kublai some slack before I tighten the noose.
Absolute by Kublai Khan. Metalcore in the heaviest of forms. Absolute is Kublai Khan's senior effort and is their second album on the Rise record cycle. 25 minutes in length that starts off very promising and strong, every track being mind-crushing and heavy. This album is the predecessor to Nomad, an album that I find near perfect with plenty of completed rotations, an album that has some of the strongest Kublai Khan moments with True Fear, Ant Pile, and BC, and an album that has held up for its cycle of 2 years. As far as Absolute, the album starts off with an eerie sample of America the Beautiful and is followed by the very typical Kublai Khan banger, which lasts less than a minute. This banger is reminiscent of the first track formula that Kublai Khan has done many times before. Quick, sharp, and to the point, as if you're getting hit with a baseball bat to the head. Controversial topics find themselves as the source material for Matt Honeycutt's lyrics, which seems to be marinated in anger, misery, and the desire for death. Notable examples of which involve deadbeat fathers, opposing viewpoints with lack of civil discussion, cancel culture, and even the opium epidemic in the United States. All of which are source material that most can relate to, but are very specific in their delivery in Kublai Khan's case. To dissect some topics, Honeycutt speaks of The Truest Love as a track that challenges and questions what it means to be a man but still capable of abandoning a family that you took part in creating. This is something that should and can definitely spark conversation, as most of us have or may know someone who has gone through the traumas of a parental figure leaving the household. The lyrics strongly match well with the instrumentals in regards to the primal nature spoken of and desired, with the primal grooves taking place in full accompaniment. The primal need to love and die for the family that a man creates, and the entire song, the vocals, the instrumentals, and the lyrics all build the mold for the lyrical and oral narrative, which is quite brilliant whether it was intentional or not. Cloth ears being about those who have opposing ideologies and immediately disregard the different viewpoints of others. How often does one get in a discussion regarding a hot topic, politics, or even something simple as tastes in foods, and there always seems to be that one person in the conversation that cannot seem to think beyond their own beliefs and scream out about their own ideas, rendering any others as null. Listen for once in your life. We are not rivals stands as a one-liner of this track, which in true Kublai Khan nature is indirectly shouted out back towards those who cannot seem to listen and only preach. High hopes. 1, 2, 3, do it. This count hits harder than anything else in the album, and though that's truly the case, I feel that the following riffs don't quite keep up with how hard the counts hit. This track has one of the realest topics to note on Absolute, a lyrical standoff regarding the opium issue in America, and to quote the lyrics, a human with a heart who is lost. Absolutely speaks volumes considering we have an issue with not even viewing people addicted to drugs as people at all. We truly ignore, walk by, and disregard these people who need help and need care. Lyrically, this may be my favorite on Absolute. Before it's too late. Honeycutt begging for proof to stay alive, though he has lived through failure and non-accomplishments of the benchmarks he has set for himself, a feeling all too familiar to most of us. The point being made is that the lyrical content of these tracks are words that I personally can definitely relate to, feel passionate over, and get angry about. These are songs with great enough lyrics and perfect setup for crowds to battle over the microphone at the raw, intimate, and ear-wrecking live shows that Kublai Khan puts on. This isn't new to Kublai Khan, however, as they have always had passionate and somewhat controversial lyrical content, most notably True Fear on Nomad, content that questions the police and how we react to them, content that is exceedingly divisive in the United States. Absolute assembles motifs of previous Kublai Khan albums, recreating various writing styles such as the ending of Cloth Ears. The band hits a closed hi-hat breakdown groove that is reminiscent of BC, a writing style that Knocked Loose took inspiration from on A Different Shade of Blue earlier this year. One-liners galore, drum and bass grooves, meaty, thick, heavy, chunky riffs. Unique production efforts peek through in the forms of the echoing vocal delay in the chorus of True Love, lower level, throwing me through a loop, catching me completely off guard with the removal of sound, cutting out completely, leaving nothing but silence. The use of the eerie sample as the opener and closer of the record, along with the few seconds of pure silence after the closing sample, as if the silence represents that it is indeed too late for Honeycutt, as previously spoken about. Though I wouldn't entirely expect something different and refreshing from Kublai Khan, it is nice to receive another 10 tracks of heavy hitters and bangers. With all that being said, my head kept bobbing through the whole album. Some of the breakdowns, tempo changes, and one-liners from the monstrous Honeycutt vocal ability left me thiz-facing, but overall Overall, I feel myself slightly out of steam by the time the last 2 or 3 tracks came around. The first half of the album definitely holds the bulk of the luster and keep the drive going, whereas the latter half becomes slow moving, monotonous, and lackluster in comparison to the likes of Boomslang. Interest and focus seem to diminish. I can't pinpoint where this cultivates though, whether it's the lack of writing ability and song structure, though I highly doubt that, or maybe 25 minutes of straight chug beat down crowd kill is exhausting. Whether this album is played from front to back or shuffled, the standout tracks definitely lie within the former half. Ultimately, Absolute stands as a strong follow-up to Nomad, but not quite as strong as Nomad. I give this album 7 Boomslangs out of 10. How did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments. Tell me who you'd like me to review next. You know the drill. Comment, like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you enjoyed. Thank you. It's not a sampler. It's not a platter at Applebee's. Squeaky chair.